Hello guys. You will be seeing this on YouTube because I feel like it's time for me to just free flow more. However few views I get or whatever. There's something inherently about Instagram that I love Instagram, but there's something inherently visual, ego about it, like something inherently superficial about it, something inherently thirsty about it, and that's why I like it too. I like attention too. But I realize that the nature of my path, perhaps if I continue or am able to continue to pursue doing readings, it has to be of more substance. If I ever, my jam is just more substance. Deeper, longer, more substance. And my type of messages are just never going to be the super quick and easy, But that's just not my nature totally. But anyway, so Mars has gone direct today, which is wonderful news. And I think it's something that's been looming over us more the last 2.5 months than we realize, because if planets retrograde, you just don't want to you can't make everything about it. You don't want to dwell on it too much. You don't want to, and then when it's a long retrograde like that, you forget at times that you're still in it. But the Mars retrograde, I think, is powerful, and I think there's a number of things I want to share today, both personally and a powerful download I got, and that's aside from even pulling cards, so I don't know if I will. And just hoping I can get it all out. But I've had a powerful wave of emotions come over me the last 24 hours especially, which I think for me is perhaps delayed effects of Cancer full moon, as well as this Mars going direct. Because I think what Mars has done has been it's hit a lot of really painful spots, painful points of view, things that have not come into fruition that you've wanted, things that you've wanted to move forward but haven't. Perhaps there's a highlight on what you haven't done, if that makes sense. Like there's a highlight on sadness surrounding things that have not happened, that have not moved forward. Maybe even perhaps things that we might consider failures or like stops, that just didn't really work out. And it brings about some sadness. I feel like there's an energy of endings right now that's sad. And but something is also at the same time desiring to move forward in your next chapter, your life. Fortunately for me, I'm an Aries rising, because with my Sag Sun Pisces moon, without that Aries rising, I don't know if I would ever get out of bed or if I would ever get out of the bar. The Aries rising keeps me on my feet, and that's what Mars does. He keeps you on your feet. You're a fighter, you're a warrior. You are on a path, and it's important that you stay strong in what you are doing and that you have faith in yourself, because it does feel like a fight a lot. It does feel like a war at times, and there's aspects to this life that is warlike, and will always sort of feel that way here. And so a lot of emotions coming up. So what I've realized is I moved here about a year ago, and I'm about to move out of here in a month or so. And I was like, I got 5 weeks or so, but I'm gonna try to get ahead of it because of the snow. You never know. I'm gonna try to make the most of the time I have, so I'm not like squished at the end. But what's happened to me since moving here and last December prior to moving here was a lot of anger surfacing. A lot of anger I've dealt with this year. And the anger has been so intense at times for me that it's finally pushed me to create better boundaries in my life. It's finally pushed me to speak up for myself, truly, like speak up for myself in moments. It's finally pushed me to tell people when to fuck off, And not that you always want to be telling people to fuck off, but when you're like a people pleaser type, it's really hard for you to tell people things that they don't want to hear. But you're wired intuitively to see the things in people that are off in them. And then you have a hard time telling them what they don't want to hear because you're sensitive too. So you're the messenger, don't shoot the messenger. And the messenger is more sensitive. The messenger has to be more sensitive to get the messages. So the messenger has to get stronger in order to deliver the messages. And I feel like that's the phase I'm in my life. And I could say that this place is kind of dark in a way. I felt it's haunted. It's an old building. It's just, there's a lot of energy here, like a lot of energy. And I have felt haunted since living here. So it's like, as much as I love it, you know, there's an energy here that I was a match for coming here. I came here angry and I was a match for this place. Also, at the same time, though, what I would say about this place is that this place has cradled me and held me through this phase of anger, which I think has been really healing. It's really healing me. This has been a little safe haven to get through those moments. Like, I've just had so many like intense moments here of sadness, of disappointment, of, I don't know, loneliness, but it's like, it's been building as a purge for the years prior, for my whole life. And so I see it just as a very specific thing in that sense. But what I feel with this Mars going direct, not that Mars was retrograde the whole time I lived here, it's not like that, but this theme coming around with Mars going direct is that I feel like some things that have been surfacing, wounds that have brought about a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of pain, I feel like you've worked through those. And I feel like with Mars going direct, a lot of that stuff is going to be ending. You're not going to be stuck in that, you know, because what I feel like I've worked out the last 12 months here within myself has just been stuff that has tied back for a long time. Lots of different stuff that's really ultimately about me. It's really about me. It's about your story. And that's why since living here, I've constantly said, remember who you are. Remember who you are. Know thyself. Because I had to come here to remember who I am, you know, like truly who I am. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to have this cradled space where it helped me do that. And now I feel stronger to move forward and to fight. Not I want to fight, but you know what I mean? To fight the fight of my life, to be strong, to take it day by day. And sometimes the fight is the fight to be kind, to be happy, to stay okay through it all. And then I just wanted to share with you guys too, because these things, like some deep stuff was coming up for me. The reason I do readings, stuff like that, is because I feel like I have failed at everything in my life. Like, I just feel like I've never really found my place in life, other than like the weed realm a little bit. But even my work has been always reaped with challenges, darkness. When I went to my family, that was all layered with dark and emotionality, and always like fear. Like, we didn't know if we were going to survive year to year. And now it's like kind of the same thing up here. It's like, and so, I feel like I'm good at my job, but it's like, it's been hard, even that. And everything throughout my life, and I'm not saying this to be a victim, is I get really frustrated with people who, you know, that thing I posted, it said, you can't heal if you pretend you're not hurt. How can you heal if you pretend you're, oh, I'm fine. Then you don't heal. You know what I mean? So people don't always like how I like, they like complain. I think it's complaining, or it's too heavy, or it's dark, or it's like always, you know, like everything's okay. It's like, yeah, that's true. Everything is going to be okay. But at the same time, I give my pain a voice. I wear my heart on my sleeve because I feel like, I'm not saying you have to heal it. You have to know it to heal it. You have to see it to heal it. You have to feel it to heal it. All of that. You have to have awareness of it to heal it. And you are here to heal it. I'm telling you, you're here to heal the shit in yourself. At the very least, that is what you're here to do. And so, anyway, what I was going to say is that I just was reflecting last night in like a meditation that was very sad and deep for me, like how hard it's been for me to find my place. It was really just all, and how I feel like I fail at everything that like normal people do, and normal people make look really easy, and I don't, you know? And so the point is that I've never really found my place. You know what I mean? I was never like super popular. I wasn't like, it's just like, I've always been like this floater in the middle kind of thing. And like, I'm like, why am I sharing this with you? I know there's a reason. I know it all comes together, but then I get all weepy and crying that I'm like, forget what I'm talking about as a reader and trying to be a divine presence here for the 30 or 40 people that might watch this or listen to this. Even like, I feel like I failed at motherhood, motherhood, like having a baby was really hard. All of it, everything has always felt like hard for me for some reason. And I've always felt like I've lacked connection, support. And I'm not saying this as a martyr. I used to tell these stories more as a martyr. I'm not sharing these stories as a martyr. I'm sharing these stories as a warrior who's really been looking at myself in the mirror and just realizing the things that are lacking in my life. Now, if they're lacking in my life as a reflection of me, I have to understand that too. But I feel like there's a reason I was never meant to fit in. I just heard fitting as square peg in a round hole or whatever. That's me, kind of. And that's, I think, a lot of, well, not a lot, but percentages of souls out there. Your whole life, you felt like a square peg in a round hole. And why is that? Because you're meant to change things. So the fact that I've never really found my thing per se, except for this, except for consciousness, understanding, awareness, upliftment. And even with this, I can't seem to grow my shit. It won't grow. But the depth of the connection I feel with those of you who watch and your comments, like, blow me away. Like, I don't care if it's 5 or 10 or whatever, like, you bitches, I love you. And some of you, like, it's just been a few years and I just, like, it's really rewarding, but it's also, like, kind of, some people might think it's superficial, but it's not superficial. And I think out there in this world, if you feel alone or if you felt alone, you have to go within and realize that you are wired with gifts and you are wired with energy that allows you to find what is meant for you. And if you try to integrate yourself in the world and it rejects you, because that's how I've always felt so rejected by things in life. And it's like, if the world rejects you repeatedly, what is it trying to show you? It's trying to show you that that's not for you. That's not what you're meant to do, for better or worse. Like, we know it makes you sad. Like, we get it. We know it's sad to, like, not fit in, to feel rejected, to feel like the black sheep, like a fish out of water, like a square peg in a round hole. Like, we get it. It's hard. And only people who have felt that know what that feels like. Because people who haven't, they're like, well, you're such a... No, there's purpose in it. I am convinced that there is a deep purpose in it, because if I had fit in, if I'd been homecoming queen, if I had done a great job being a mom and having a family, I wouldn't be here. And it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't be so proud to be here, but some part of me feels like I'm meant to be here. And this is my purpose. And because of the world rejecting me in different ways, I've only had to go back to what I love within, and that is learning. Like I said, consciousness, awareness, and it was the most important thing to me when I was little, before I even knew that that's what it was. Because when I was little, I just wanted to read and be in a world of imagination. That was it. So that's really the essence of, I feel like, my divine spiritual path. So the reason I'm sharing that mostly is because I just like to share with you, as these things come up for me, they most likely mirror things coming up for you. It feels like a massive cycle and, like, scale of understanding of self that I'm, like, going through. And it's painful. It's painful in a way. And I feel like the last few years, the darkness has been activated in me. And I think a lot of times when the darkness is activated in people, they want to run away from it. And, or pretend like it's not them or it's not there. And I think that the darkness in you is asking for your attention. And it's asking for you to look at it in the mirror. And when you look at your own darkness in the mirror, chances are, like, you will feel sad, but that's who you are. That's part of who you are. And you can't get to the Mecca. You can't get to the Holy Grail. You can't get to the summit. You can't get to the mountaintop until you integrate all parts of yourself. When I say remember who you are, you have to remember all the parts of yourself, the dark parts too. And you are a villain. You've played a villain. You are a villain. There's a part of you that will do those things. And that doesn't mean ultimately that that's the essence, that that's your true nature or essence. But we have to acknowledge that we all come here to do that. We all come here to play chaos. And that's why at 15 minutes, I would like to shift into a more profound download or intuition I got. And understanding that all these things are connected. And I'm going to stop like fucking explaining myself all the time. Which is like me, not even as other, but... So the personal stuff is important. It's remembering who you are, and that's where I am on my path. So I want to share it with you. But here we go with that aspect. As I got to the darkness, as you come here and you become part of the dark. And so you have to integrate that part of yourself. What if I told you? What if I told you that you came here to help God understand itself? So that's what the whole Earth Project is. That's what you are doing. You are helping God understand itself. We'll say itself. And people don't like the term God. God is an infinite, all-encompassing, vast, massive, energetic frequency. Maybe like a bubble. I don't know totally, so just forgive, but roll with it. God is one. God is infinity. It is everything. It infuses all of life. God does have a consciousness. It does have an awareness and intelligence, of course. It is the creator. It is not masculine or feminine, but both. And so what happened at some point along the way, not here, but God is too much. It's like the energy is too much. Like it's just, it was too much. The God force energy is infinite. And so at some point within the God force energy, it turned on itself. The God force energy turns on itself. And there's an element within a living being that for some reason wants to turn to chaos and darkness. There's this like angle that's like something happens from creation. And although the essence, the true nature of the creator is harmonious, is love, is harmony, is light. There's something within a being that turns on light. Chaos. That's what I keep hearing. Chaos. Chaos is the antithesis of God. Chaos is the antithesis of love, of light. And chaos, disharmony began to take form, take shape in the universe, not here, not on earth, not in this place, in another place, say this happened. This started to happen. This chaos, this darkness started to muddy the God body, if you will, the one. And so the one, the God body that holds infinite galaxies, if you will, I was like, what is that? What? Why is that happening? Why is that body turning? Why is my body turning against me? Why is it turning on me? And you can see in the human body how we mimic it all the time through disease, different things where, I feel so deep in a channel right now and I just felt myself like wanting to jump out of it. So I hope I can finish because this feels intense. But the God body is like, what? Why am I turning on myself? I don't understand it. And in the cosmos, the galaxies, infinite. I'm saying infinite a lot because there are really, but it is, I'm hearing too, it is actually finite in some respects. There is actually perhaps a number, if you will. But it's not really thought of like that, I guess. But of the infinite galaxies and planets, or many in the same, but all the same system, all the same God body. Yeah, there are certain planets, certain galaxies, certain realms, frequencies started to turn against the God body, started to turn from harmony and wholeness and oneness to disharmony, to opposition, to chaos. And part of what so that started happening. And it's funny because if you think really, some people might think this is weird, but like God doesn't know what to do. It's like, why is that I say he, because we're also used to that she, it, It's like, why is that happening to my body? Why is that happening? And you could think of it as like my children. Why are my children turning on me? But I think it's better to think of it as a body. And like when your body turns on you, and it's your soul, your mind too, right? It's your mind. It's these other parts of you, this shadow, these other parts of you that start to turn on you over time. And anger is a big part of that. So as I was sitting in sadness about myself and my story, I felt like I was gifted this download. So I was like, thank you. They're like, see, you didn't fit in. Like, you weren't prom queen. You botched a lot of shit, but this is a pretty powerful download. Like, you may get 45, 50 views max, but someday people will realize that this shit is true, that there's something to what I'm saying today, okay? But whatever, I don't really care. We do, we don't. So the Earth Project, if you will, as I often refer to it as, is that. It's God trying to figure out what happened. It's God. It's a place, a three-dimensional place. And I feel and see this more than I'm able to really explain it. Not that I'm trying to validate myself, but you will know if these things resonate with you, if they make sense to you as you know what I mean? You'll know if they do or not. And if they don't comment. Just kidding. Because you can't prove, no one can prove I'm right or wrong anyway, but a lot of planets, so when I'm talking about the infinite galaxies and planets, Earth is unique. It is somewhat unique. Usually planets, as I understand, I'm sure there's many variations, don't get me wrong, but usually planets hold beings of all the same frequency, generally speaking. Remember, again, the harmony. And so we're trying to study, God's trying to figure out where this disharmony is coming from within its own body. And if we understand that too, that we're actually here helping God understand what happened in the cosmos, in its own body, in the universe, where darkness, chaos began to be created, or began to, come into form, when the only intention was harmony. So generally planets hold beings of the same frequency. So there's not this chaos and disharmony. Now, I'm not totally clear on what happened with the darkness and chaos. It doesn't really, who knows, probably beyond me explaining. It's a lot. But the point is that at some point, there's a desire, unconscious awareness, God source, lower levels of God source, if you will, that are like, we want to figure this out. Why is this happening? We need to control the darkness. We need to control this chaos in the cosmos that is ensuing for some reason. But they didn't quite know or understand how to do that. And so part of the Earth Project is to make everything manifest form 3D, like 3D hard, so that it's manifest form. And there were levels of the Earth Project, but I'm not going to get into that today because I don't know all the levels of the Earth Project, but there were levels of the Earth Project for sure. And the hardening of the skull. Oh, I said that. That's funny. The reason this is important is because the hardening of the skull was an important turning point for man, where things became increasingly painful and challenging, where the hardening of the body, the death experience, the cycles of life and death, past lives, all that had to start happening at some point. And that became really painful for the soul. And that's part of what we're carrying and healing and part of what we're carrying, I was going to say create, but trying to heal is all that trauma that happened when we had to start dying, when we had to start having the death experience. But, it had to be, so the Earth Project had to be in 3D manifest form so that we could figure it out. It's like molecular. It's like breaking it down so that you can see what's going on almost, So this is a lot. I should probably stop and maybe continue. I'll just play with my hair. I'm thirsty. Actually thirsty. I need water. I'm just wondering where the end point of this is exactly, Spirit. But So this just occurred to me last night as a powerful download. And the point is that I've understood that about Earth for quite a while. You know what I mean? I've understood that aspects of that. What was new to me last night, that Earth is this project that's meant to help. What I've always understood about Earth is that we are a 3D planet that we're meant to, sources from different galaxies all come here. It's a melting pot. It's unique. It's not typical. It's for a purpose. The purpose is for the souls to come back to God. The purpose is for the souls to remember oneness, harmony as their true nature, as their true source. And if they can remember it here in an organic physical body, it helps the imprint. It helps the God source consciously make that aware, like hardline that awareness to prevent darkness and chaos, disharmony from ensuing in the cosmos at large, not just on Earth. Earth is just a blip of a dot of a project to be like, what the fuck is going on in the universe? And but that's why Earth is this beautiful, beautiful melting pot where all the different frequencies are meant to come together here so that we remember that we all come from the same source and that we all love each other and that we're all one. We are the same. And I don't mean to say that we're the same, all individuals. We're all, the individuation codes, I feel like, for each soul is specific and beautiful. But the point is that ultimately, nothing separates us. That's the ultimate point, is that I keep repeating my words with profound, trying to be emphatic. Ultimately, nothing separates us. And that is what we have to remember. The chaos, the disharmony, it is separation. It is opposition. It's when you turn on yourself. You turn on some part of yourself. And in that notion, when you turn on your brothers and sisters around you, you're also turning on some part of yourself. And that is true. Murder, whatever atrocity you can commit, when we lie away, we treat people around us, it's something we're also doing to ourselves. So the pain of that is both, it's twofold. But so the novel download, what was new to me last night and kind of beautiful, is that you are helping, and recently, and someone else shared it, that you are the portal. And then I don't want to seem like I'm copying people, but I heard that the other day I was driving, like, you are the portal when I was talking about portals. But what I heard last night was that you are helping God understand itself. You are helping God understand itself. Truly, that's what you're here doing. Because it's when I'm like, to the universe and to my guides and whatever God, I'm like, why am I here? That's like, I get in a vibe. I'm like, why am I here? I know I have a son and I get it, okay? But it's like, why, Spirit? And then they laid down, they were like, well, you are here helping God understand itself. So that's something. But it also is like kind of interesting to think in that sense, if that's true, that I don't want to say the darkness is to be feared, because it's still, the thing about the darkness is like, because like if we think in the sense that God doesn't totally understand the darkness in a sense, or doesn't totally understand the source of it, then that's kind of scary. But it's really not, because it's all within one body is the point. So whatever opposition manifests within oneself, or on one's planet, physical planet, or in one's galaxy, it's a part of oneself. So there's something that was amok, there's something amiss, where some part of self has been forgotten in a large, large way. Beyond us, beyond this moment, beyond our human suffering today, beyond this planet, beyond it all. Something was running amok, and it's trying to figure out what that something is and how we get back to harmony in the greater cosmos at large, which I'm talking about a lot today, but I don't totally understand. It's ineffable. They're downloads, they're images, and they're things that I can't prove, like I said, and I don't totally know the details or understand, but you can only just share the ideas to the extent to which humans are suffering and understanding what they're doing. And it's like, oh yeah, it's that aspect too, where like, this idea like you are God. You know, people say that you are God. And a lot of the more Christian type folks, or when the New Age people turned Christian, that was a big thing that I noticed they would diss on really a lot for New Agers. They're like, you're not God. You are not God. You know, it's like, okay, bitch. But the point, I've never really thought of myself, like, I've never thought of it like that either, but I understand. This is the first, I'm like, oh, I get it. You are a mini God trying to help God understand what happened to itself. And the more you can honor your own darkness, this is what I started with, the more you can see your own darkness, integrate your own shadow, understand the ways in which you have let the dark take you, whether in this life or past life emanations that come through you as energy, as memories, as feelings, as fears, as desires. You have to integrate them, and some part of facing them, acknowledging them. I realize it's not only about us healing humanity, you know, understanding, remembering our source and oneness, helping heal the planet in that sense and raise the energetic vibration through conscious awareness and understanding of oneself. But you are also helping the fucking cosmos heal. The more you can face and integrate your own darkness and your pain and what separates you from other people, whatever that feeling is for you, the more you help all these levels of things within your own body, within the planetary body, and within the cosmos, the galactic body, the intergalactic body. The more you can do that as a mini God, the more it reverberates. It reverberates throughout the whole universe. So if you feel like you are doing nothing, if you feel like you are useless, if you feel like you never fit in and you didn't get what you wanted and life is cruel to you, maybe it's trying to show you something different. Maybe it's trying to show you something else about yourself. And in that, you help others too. We are all healing. And none of this healing can really happen if your life is easy breezy. Easy breezy lemon squeezy doesn't always get this. It doesn't get this because unfortunately, a lot of this has to come from pain. And understanding that that is a lot of why we are here, and helping God understand that chaos, that chaotic body that took place, that manifests. And so people often who want to pretend like that is not real, you are not helping. You're not helping, and that part of yourself isn't real. And it's not that you want to dwell on your darkness either. It's not, but you are both. You're a holistic being. And we really do live in a time and chapter of repressed shadow within oneself. And that's what I was saying the other day, when you tell people things that you start to see about them, and you may be meaning it well, they don't handle it well a lot because they don't want to be faced with their shadow. And they don't want to be faced with it with some random person either. But you are actually trying to help people, and you have to understand that. You don't want to be a vigilante or anything like that. You have to know it's coming from the heart. But reflecting truth back to people is an important part of this journey for people that feel more in tuned and awakened and might consider themselves a light worker or whatever. I also want to say, for those of you like that, highly sensitives, you evoke passion in people. So Mars is a planet of anger, of action, I feel like of manifestation, of starting something. Mars is also a planet of passion. And so for you lightworker types, you evoke passion in people. Now that might not always be passion like sexual passion, but it's like sometimes people might not like you kind of passion. People might feel really competitive with you. People might get angry with you and you're like, what? You know, people might have sexual intense feelings for you. But it's like sometimes for the light worker, it's not always about you. It's that you evoke something in them. And I think for the empaths, it's taken such a long time to get back to you, so you can really help understand how you're meant to decipher out the darkness in yourself and in others and help guide them through that. as part of your divine purpose and healing. And it takes a long time to do that because you have to remember who you are in order to be strong enough to do that. And when you are empathic and you are mirroring and you're trying to pick up on all this other stuff in the world, you will waste lifetime after lifetime just not being who you really are, not remembering who you really are, because there's so much energetic frequency out there that picks you up, that takes you. And so this is a life where I feel like the light working empath is meant to come back to self. So that is why maybe not a lot has happened or like come in a sense in the 3D. I hope that resonates with some of you. Maybe that's just a me thing, because you are meant to get back to yourself in this life. It's hugely wildly important for you to get back to yourself in this life. And there's some element of what your higher self, what your guides, God, source, whatever knew would be required for you to get back to yourself. And if you have too much physical stimuli, too much physical positivity, too many hard-lined blessings, chances are you like being here too much, and you won't remember who you are. It's just too much ease or pleasure. You don't remember who you are. Because also part of remembering who you are is everything I've said today. I don't need to go deeper, but there is a source of darkness and pain in who you are, especially as a human being in terms of the hard skull and shit. There's darkness you have taken on as a result of this project of being here. That's funny. Thank you. Yeah, because I've been feeling that myself. I don't know, just different parts of my life, whatever. It's hard to explain. But basically, you have to go into the dark. And I've shared this before in different channels or messages. But you have to go into the wound to heal it. And that is what the Earth Project is about. It's about going into the wound to heal this chaos, darkness, disharmony that ensues in one's body, if you will, in a one. We're trying to heal that, trying to understand why it turns on itself, and trying to find the source and the remedy so that will stop happening out there. So that's all for today. That was intense and long-winded. I really hope it resonated with you. Forgive if not, whatever. Please comment, subscribe, whatever. And I always read your guys' comments. I'm sorry I don't always respond, but I read them and they mean so much to me. The few of you out there, and like I said, I really love I love all of you, but there are some of you that I talk to and I've been on this journey for a while, and I'm so grateful for you. So remember who you are today and every day. Mars is going forward. Maybe things will start to feel a little more like the wheels just moving. I think it'll be moving, less stuck in the mire, But that's all. Peace out. Love you all.